You are somewhere in the streets with a placard in your hand, protesting for a noble cause. Your voice adds to the already deafening chants of revolution and social justice emanating from mouths hungry for egalitarianism. The bullhorn from the fire brigade on the other side of the road is relentless, warning everyone not to advance beyond the set perimeter. The sea of placards continues moving forward, everyone intoxicated by an omnipresent anger floating through the crowd. A shot rings. Everyone scatters. In a matter of seconds, you find yourself on an island surrounded by a sea of guns pointing at you. Don't shoot, don't shoot! You find yourself begging, tears welling up out of nowhere, replacing the rebellious spirit that had just miraculously deserted you. As you get on your knees, with both hands above your head, as per the police's instructions, your mind starts reminiscing about the good old days when you were home eating snacks on the couch as comfortable as can be. Do not shoot! Your voice can be heard from all four corners of the earth. They do not shoot. A few minutes later, your hands are handcuffed behind your back as you are shoved into the back of a police van, and you cannot help but strain your neck to wipe your tears from your shoulder as the van starts moving forward towards an unwelcome destination. 3 days later, the terms of release are given to you. Pledge to never take part in a related protest again, and you would be free to go home. There is almost no hesitation on your part as you give your pledge, yearning for your comfortable bed and whatever small pleasures come with using your own bathroom and indulging in the privacy of your own home. As you walk out of the jailhouse, you orgasmically close your eyes as the sun bathes your face with its warmth for the first time in 3 days. That would be the last time you ever attend a protest. News of your arrest had spread. After seeing what happened to you online, someone on the other side of the country is filled with a passion for justice as they type out words of solidarity and shortcomings of the government. They support the protest schedule for the following week, which is evident from their constantly posting about it and sharing it across their social media platforms. However, they have no plans of attending. They would be extremely busy. They've never attended any of the protest rallies they have supported in the past. The following week, you learn that one of the protesters got caught and reprimanded just like you had been. But unlike you, when given the option of being released with a warning in exchange for a pledge, they did not comply.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always!
Instead, they stood their ground for the belief that so long as the injustice they were fighting for prevailed, they would die fighting for its correction. Consequently, they were not released. They would be in jail for an indefinite period of time, with the possibility of being shipped to prison. This is one of the many examples illustrating the branching of our behavior from our supposed beliefs. How does this branching come about? What is the cause of this disagreement between belief and action, passion and failure of its application? Continuing from where we left off in the previous video, we will explore the different ways in which our beliefs and behaviors branch off from one another. This is not simple, as there are multiple factors that can be identified. However, we'll focus on 3 of those factors, namely the strength of belief, the novelty of experience, and change of outlook. One of the major reasons for the branching of beliefs and actions has to do with the strength of the belief. Some beliefs just do not inspire much fervor with regards to how we internally feel about them. These usually occupy a lower level in our value hierarchy and can be ignored, as their confirmation or refutation are usually of little consequence. Consider the belief that dinosaurs once roamed the earth. The confirmation or refutation of this belief to the average person who is not professionally or ideologically invested in it is mostly inconsequential. One can go about their day without losing any sleep in the event that this is found to be true or false. Such weak beliefs usually occupy the bottom of our value hierarchy, and we can afford to dispense with them. However, beliefs occupying the top of the value hierarchy should be taken seriously and reflected upon to see how weak or strong they are, so that we can act accordingly to them. The importance of this has been described in the previous video. The strength of beliefs can be estimated from the amount of work one needs to do to validate them. In the example given in the introduction, we see three people who believe in social justice. On the one hand, we have someone who only speaks out on social media but chooses not to participate in active protests. On the other hand, we have one person who, in addition to speaking out on social media, attends protests but is easily persuaded to refrain from attending future protests. On the extreme end of the continuum, we have one person who, in addition to speaking out on social media and attending protests, is not easily persuaded by threats of extended jail time. These three people represent three tiers of belief adherence: weak, moderate, and strong. Protesting only online and not doing anything on the ground when given a chance to is so close to not doing anything that even describing this belief as weak is being generous.
Weakness of any kind completely revolts me.
On the other hand, yielding immediately to resistance on the ground is more commendable than typing things out on social media. However, as long as there exists people who refuse to budge, people who willingly risk their livelihoods and sometimes lives for what they believe in, then the highest tier of belief will always be represented by them. This tier can always be used as a guide to reflect on the strength of our beliefs and how far below we fall from it. The second reason we do not act out our beliefs might be due to the novelty of the experience or novelty of the actions associated with the belief. In the same way that we get to know who we are through discovery, we get to discover what we believe in through action or experience. For example, one does not simply choose blue to be their favorite color. One discovers through experience that they like or love blue in a special kind of way compared to other colors. One can even give strong reasons why blue is better than the other colors, but why those reasons specifically apply to blue and not green or red, for example, one is not in a position to know. Similarly, one does not choose to find something delicious, something tastes delicious, without our consent, and we discover that we like this kind of taste compared to that kind of taste.
I'm gonna give it a try and see how it is. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to figure out what makes this pizza bite so good. It's stuffed with pepperonis, but I don't think that's why. It's the seasoning. So I ate two of them.
Otherwise, it would be possible to just choose that everything tastes good and have delicious meals throughout the day for as long as we desire. This is not possible. It should be noted that one can, however, be trained to like something that they initially did not like. Even so, after such training, one loses the ability to arbitrarily choose to stop liking that thing that they have just been trained to like. Let us continue with the example of the activist who was arrested while protesting and released with a warning. The experience of being singled out and arrested for the first time during a protest might reveal details on protesting that the individual had not been privy to prior to the incident. More likely, they might have known that arrest was a possibility. However, the first-hand experience of having guns pointed at you while you are on your knees begging for your life might have revealed the extent of one's commitment to the cause. Simply, as Morpheus eloquently put it, there is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
Neo, sooner or later you're going to realize, just as I did, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
Walking the path will confirm whether you know it or not. Let us consider another example where experiencing something for the first time provides insight into our resolve and commitment to a cause. Consider an individual who believes in ethical manufacturing, which is when manufacturing companies prioritize good health, good working conditions, and adequate wages for their workers. Now let us imagine the individual eventually discovers that the extremely lucrative manufacturing company of their favorite brand subjects their workers to inhumane working conditions where they are being underpaid and not allowed to take a leave with pay. The strength of how much such an individual believes in ethical manufacturing will be reflected by their response to these news. If they stop supporting the company and decide never again to wear their brand unless the situation is corrected, then the belief stands and is proven to be strong. If they go as far as also protesting and participating in creating awareness about the inhumane conditions, then the belief is really strong. However, if they continue supporting the company and buying their favorite brand from them, then a threshold for acting in accordance with the belief has not been met, and therefore that belief is either weak or non-existent. Regardless of their internal feelings concerning the issue or their endless excuses on how one individual not supporting the company would not make any difference. Having intense feelings without the necessary actions to validate them is akin to a car at the starting line of a race, emitting the loudest revving noises but not moving an inch when the gun goes off. The third reason our actions might stray away from what we believe is a change of outlook. There are instances where the experience is not novel, but we discover through action that a belief we once held does not hold up anymore. For example, let us consider the case of the person who got arrested for participating in the protest, but risked being sent to prison for refusing to assure the authorities that they would refrain from participating in future protests. Let us imagine this person ends up spending months in jail with other peers of his ilk who had refused to pledge allegiance as well. Let us consider that over time, this person witnesses his comrades' resolve progressively weaken. In the coming weeks, he witnesses each comrade budge, give a pledge, and get sent home, while he remains resolute.
I feel sorry for you, Prime. Your allegiance to these humans. The trouble with loyalty to a cause is that the cause will always betray you.
Let us imagine he is released months later, not for reneging on his belief, but because the authorities thought it a waste of time to keep him. It is not unreasonable for a person in such a situation to find that their outlook on activism has changed. They might seek out other ways of bringing about change instead of attending protest rallies, not because they cannot face the consequences, but because they have faced the consequences and discovered how ineffective their initial strategy had been. The evolution of a viewpoint or belief is different from avoiding consequences of holding said belief. There are many examples where a belief changes due to a maturing of outlook or personality. Similar cases can be observed in the church, where at one point, whatever the pastor or priest said was taken without question. Later, one discovers that they not only take what the priests say with a grain of salt, but also have grown to be skeptical of the divinity of the priests themselves. Another case is the belief that going to school will make one successful. In the current times, where the advancement of technology has taken precedence, this belief has not been able to withstand scrutiny. One then can mature into a different belief and outlook. Yet another example is the belief that following one's passion will lead to financial success, and so forth. In summary, different factors cause us to act differently than what our supposed beliefs would dictate. A weak belief is illustrated when we fail to act in a manner consistent with our professed belief. Novel experiences provide opportunities to witness how we act in real-world scenarios, allowing us to confirm, refute, or refine our beliefs. A change in perspective can lead to modifications or discarding of beliefs. These factors, amongst others, serve as tools for learning and calibrating our belief structures, offering deeper insights into our true beliefs and areas of growth. Beliefs can be gained, lost, or transformed through experience and reflection. Until next time, Noga's Musings, adding value, one essay at a time.